Hey, this is Arsenic, and today we'll be talking about change texture line defs in Doom. And the reason I wanted to talk about this is because, well, there's basically two types, and one of them most people understand, but the other one people don't. But also because I found a way to actually make it so it's so much easier to actually control it, because when I was doing really complicated vanilla maps and I had to deal with a certain line def change type, a lot of the research I tried to do, they suggested doing one thing, but it was really inefficient, and I found basically a new way to deal with it that I think is a lot better. So I'd like to go into it a little bit. I'll start with explaining a little bit of both types, and then we'll go into the editor and show why sometimes this becomes a problem, right? And then I'll explain my solution to dealing with this in a Doom map. So first, most people understand this is the easiest one to understand. It's the trigger algorithm. Basically, it means that when you have a line def, and you could see right here at the green right here, I have two examples. Basically, when you walk over a line def, it depends on if in vanilla in Doom Builder, it doesn't actually tell you if it's trigger or numeric, but that is fine. But assuming it's trigger, basically what that means is that, say it's tag 1, this would change to whatever's on the front side of the line def that you walk over. So basically, it would change it to this brown flat right here. They would do the exact same thing in the second one as well, even though maybe the red sector right here would be the same, it would, if you had a numeric change texture, raising the sector up or something, and these two would both be at the same height or floor height, it would still go with the brown one instead. That's why it's the most straightforward. You see this a lot in vanilla with switches, pressing switches. It's whatever the side of the switch is pointed towards, it usually changes it to. It's a really bad example for me to say change texture from lowering the sector, because pretty much in vanilla Doom that's always numeric, and that's where people kind of get confused, because they would think, oh, it's just this, but it's really not. So numeric, and I'm gonna say thanks to SMG Man. Basically I have the link for his explanation, but it really does help make sense of how the numeric thing works. Most of the time this is what I was running into an issue with, and it's very confusing. The first thing it does is it finds all the floors adjacent to the tagged floor. So for example, this simple example, tag 1, this is super simple, it only has another one tagged. This one has 2 sectors tagged. So if these both are at the same height, then it will look at both of them actually. The next thing it does is it looks at the lowest numbered line def separating the floor from the tag. So what that means is basically in tag 1, it looks at right now there's only one line def connecting this tag 1 to the other sector, so it's obviously going to pull from this one. On the one on the right, it's a little bit more confusing, because it's actually all 4 sides are connected to another sector. And so basically in Doom, every line def has a number attached to it, which we'll go into detail a bit later. But basically what it does is it checks for the lowest number line def, and then the sector on the other side of that line def is what it uses. So for example, if we had line def numbers, let's just make up one 5, 6, 7, 8, right? If this is the lowest one, 5, it would pull this. However, if 5 was one of these other 3, it would actually pull from the red. No, this is pretty... No, we understand that. That makes sense. The problem is that, especially with, like, Doom Builder itself, there's literally, like, no way... You can't, like, you can't swap Linedef numbers. The only way that a lot of mappers do this is they use this thing called sector surgery, which, I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. Basically, you try to redraw your sector so that you can alter what the smallest number Linedef is to get it to pull from that. The problem is, and I'll go into this, this diagram, by the way, it's somewhat useful. You could look at the link below and see it more in detail, but basically my short explanation is pretty much what it means. The problem with this is that it sucks. I'm sorry, it just sucks. Because basically you're sitting there wasting time trying to redraw your sectors, hoping to God that you get it the smallest number Linedef to the sector that you want. This works basically for really simple maps, but when you have a map like the one I'm going to show in this example, it's not as nice, and it becomes really annoying. Yeah, basically 1,000. And the next thing is, there's just a much better way to do this. So let's get into the actual thing. So this is my example map, and the sector I want to change is this. Do you see how many Linedefs are connected to this? If I select this, you'll see I have like 173 Linedefs connected. Now I want to make it so that when the player walks over the red line here, it will basically change this texture lava. And you could see that this sector right here is connected to this, and I kind of wanted to use this as the control sector. The problem is, well, I'll just play this and you'll see what I mean. It did not pull from what I wanted it to pull from. Which is a shame. Obviously, we don't want that. That sucks. So you're probably thinking to yourself, okay, well, you know, some people might say, well, just do sector surgery. I'd rather not do sector surgery. But see, what's interesting is even though we know about how the models work, we don't necessarily have to go find what the smallest Linedef number is, and I'll show you why. So if we look here, I want to use, say, this Linedef, which you can see down here says it's 322. I want this to become the smallest number Linedef, right? So the way we're going to do this is, unfortunately, we cannot do it in Doom. We can't do it in Doom Builder. We have to use SLADE instead, which is fine. So what we're going to do, going to open this up, and you can see that basically you can open maps in SLADE, obviously. What we're going to do is they actually have tables of like Linedefs and stuff. Now, if you remember, that one Linedef I wanted to be the control sector was, let's check again. I'm pretty sure it was 322. So 322. So what we're going to do then is we're going to find the Linedef 322 right here. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut this. We're going to scroll to the top. Make sure you use the selective, the little, like, the cell is selected. Let's put it about 0 and we'll paste. So now that Linedef is 0. So it's literally the first Linedef. So say yes. Like, save it. Let's save it. Let's close. And what we're going to do is we're going to reopen the map in Doom Builder. And if we look down here, this is now Linedef 0. So we have essentially manually went through and reordered the line defs. One thing that you want to make sure is when you do this, the nodes will get messed up. So the easiest way to fix the nodes and make sure that you're using the right node builder, because every time you rebuild nodes, depending on what your node builder setting is, it will change like how maps work with demos and stuff. So what I like to do to rebuild the nodes is you just move like a thing, Control Z, and now we've rebuilt the nodes. If you're wondering how nodes work, this is how nodes work. It's basically like it cuts the map into sections. It basically when you do that line def edit, it remembers, like, it builds the nodes based on the line def numbers, and because we changed the number manually, the nodes they need to be reconstructed basically. But yeah, now that we've done this, if I play this, it should pull from that sector, and you can see it did pull from that sector. So now it works correctly. So yeah, that's about it. It's basically editing it manually. I think it's a lot easier to do it this way than it would be doing it the old-fashioned way by doing this sector surgery, because I think the sector surgery is, one, it's a lot more complicated to deal with, but also it's just highly inefficient with maps where I literally have a sector that has like almost 200 line devs connected to it. So when you're trying to do something really complicated, especially in vanilla, because obviously in Boom, you can choose whether you use trigger or numeric, and that makes life a little bit easier. But yeah, hopefully this helps you in your Doom mapping, and hopefully you found this useful. This has been Arsenic. Thanks for watching, and bye-bye.